Welcome back to Grassroots Media. Welcome back to this week's edition of the Malone Record Service Betsy Shaw Show, presented by Critters Corner, where we cover everything on the court with the West Greene Lady Buffaloes basketball team. As always, I'm joined here with head coach Betsy Shaw. Coach, how are we doing this week?
Doing good. How are you?
I'm doing well. I'm sure you're doing well, too. You've been on a little winning streak here now. I think this is 3 in a row now. Coincidentally, this is your second 3-game winning streak so far this year. You won the first 3 games, lost 2 over the Thanksgiving break. Now you're on another 3-game winning streak, bumped your record up to 6-2 this year. Most importantly, 1-0 in conference now with that win over Happy Valley last night. So the last time we had sat down, we previewed Hancock County and Happy Valley. Picked up 2 pretty decisive wins over them. Talk about how happy you are with the way your team's playing at this moment.
We're playing all right. I know I talked to you last night, but we've still got to get better. In fact, we've got a lot of details that we've got to improve on. We're still got to continue to get better. I'm happy with several things, but they're playing well as a team. You know, we've had a bunch of different leading scorers up to this point. I know with Hancock, you mentioned them. Joey I think she had 20. Last night against Happy Valley, Morgan had 19. Against Cherokee, Emily had 19. You know, we've had a bunch of different. Peyton typically scores when she's playing, quite a few. And then we have a bunch of different players that's been coming in and helping us out too, whether they start or not. That's added 2 or 4 points. You know, Sarah, Madison, Neva have all been playing recently. Caitlin has even started coming in and add some points. So
she had a few last night also.
I think 5 maybe.
She had a 3-pointer in the fourth quarter.
So a lot of. I mean, it's a lot. It's good that we have those players, you know, who we need a lot from doing well, you know, whatever they're contributing. But we're also having a bunch of other people stepping up and helping us out. You don't ever know who's going to be the lead scorer, so that's good too.
That's a good team to have, though. It's one of those where you can't just guard one player and expect a team to be able to beat you that way. You've got other weapons around that. If you guard one, you've got to watch out for another. I kind of like that about that team this year, and they're fun to watch so far. Last night was the first time I've got to watch your team so far this year, but it was a fun game to watch. One thing that I don't think I mentioned to you, but you mentioned in the post-game interview that I'd forgotten about is Happy Valley was the team that ended your season last year. So I'm sure going into this game, you still had that bitter taste in your mouth, and that was a little bit of extra motivation going into this game. And it seemed like it, too, because you almost entirely shut them out in the fourth quarter. Only 2 points were scored, and it was on their last shot of the game with, I think, 20 seconds left. They only scored 6 points, I think, the entire second half. So what was your mentality coming out of halftime there after building such a big lead?
Well, I told them at halftime what happened to us that last game. I was giving them a little reminder. You know, we were up several points, you know, in the tournament, the first round of the tournament. And I don't know what, we had a very bad second half. And then our season was over because of it. So we didn't want that to, you know, give them the chance to come back into the game at all. Like, we were trying to continue to press on and press and be aggressive offensively and defensively against them, so it wouldn't come down to something at the end, some shot that somebody had to make or defend or something like that.
You made sure not to let it get to that point, too, and it was a great night on offense, too. We talked about Morgan with 19. I don't think anybody else joined her in double figures, but you had a lot of players score, too. You had a lot of the bench players go in late. I think I might be wrong, but off the top of my head, did you have 8 of your 9 players that touched the floor score last night? It was somewhere around that area, but either way, it was a great team win last night. It was a fun team to watch, too. I said that once already, but they're fun to watch out there on the court. 6-2 so far this year, but the most important part, you're 1-0 in conference. And that's, of course, we talk about how you got to win those conference games. You got to make sure that you've got a good seed going into the tournaments. And how important was it to pick up that first conference win in that first game?
It's good to, you know, start out winning. It's tough at the end when you have to sit down and figure out, well, if this team wins, then you might be in this place, or if you don't win these next 2, that's it's tough.
Take care of business. You don't have to worry about it as much.
Yeah, so it is a good team win. It's fun. The team they're not selfish at all.
Not at all.
They've moved the ball, and you know, at halftime, if you see them asking about any stats, it's rebounding and turnovers. I mean, no. You know, we're not concerned who's scoring. Like, as long as someone on our team is scoring is what matters. And you never know whose night it'll be. And, you know, if they're not scoring, they've got to contribute something. We've talked a lot about that. Like, you know, even if they're not having a good shooting night, then they need to get some rebounds or do something, something to contribute somehow when they're out there if it's not going to be scoring. And they play together, and they play really hard. So, all of them, it goes out there. So, they're fun to coach.
And one player that I'd like to talk about last night, too, we talked about Morgan and her 19 points and how well she played. And we don't know the exact stats yet, but if you talk about every stat, I'm sure Joey had a lot of every stat last night because she was doing everything that she could last night. I know I'd mentioned the most impressive play to me was the block, rebound, and assist all within 5 seconds right there. She had a few of those where she grabbed the rebound, she dribbles a few times, looks forward, and her court vision allows you to be able to score in bunches like that with her playmaking ability. So talk about how important it was for her to be on the floor and not to be in foul trouble and be healthy out there last night.
I think she had 12 rebounds and then 9 assists and 9 points.
She was so close to a triple-double.
Yeah, she was, but she was really close to the triple-double, but I told her, and I've given this to her, I don't know if she wants me to tell it or not, but an eraser, and she carries it around in her backpack because she serves as an eraser on our team. Whether it be when we make a bad pass, she'll typically get it. She gets a lot of blocks, so when we miss assignments defensively, she gets blocks. And sometimes, her name shows up for points and rebounds, but sometimes it doesn't for points. And so, I'm making her carry it around in her bag with her, but that's her job, and it's an easy job sometimes, but typically it's not. And so she does a ton for us, and sometimes you'll hear her name with points and sometimes you won't. So it just depends. And she spent a lot of time in the off season trying to get better at some stuff too. I'm going back on all the team, and most of them have worked on something. I was watching basketball last night, and I was thinking of this past NCAA tournament, and Emily, last year was her first season as point guard, and she took notes on the tournament of what different point guards did to try to get better as a point guard for us. That's just little stuff, and there's a bunch of stories like that, but of them just trying to get better and at whatever it's being asked of them. So.
And so far through 8 games, it looks like it has worked. You're 6-2 so far, going into a big stretch of games right here where you get another conference game against Johnson County, which has been switched to here at home, and then a big county matchup against North Greene, which will serve as a tough test early this part of the season. But before we talk about those too much, as always, we need to get a word from our sponsors first. So stay tuned with us right after this commercial break, and we'll preview both of these games here on Grassroots Media.
Pizza Inn offers contactless buffet to go with JoJo's Family Feast or anything on our menu for carryout. We also honor birthday parties and cater to businesses and large events. We make it easy. Call us today. Pizza Inn Greenville.
For more than 30 years, Tommy's Plumbing has served customers in East Tennessee with licensed and professional plumbing services. From installing your new faucet to replacing your existing piping system, our team at Tommy's Plumbing is trained to handle the job with professionalism, attention to detail, and integrity. By offering warranties on most products installed by our technicians, Tommy's Plumbing stands behind our work, ensuring that your plumbing needs are not only met, but that your problem is solved for the long term. When you need reliable and professional plumbing service, Tommy's is the only call to make. So give us a call today and let us show you the Tommy's difference.
Welcome back to Grassroots Media. Welcome back to this week's edition of the Malone Tracker Service Betsy Shaw Show, presented by Critters Corner, where we cover everything on the court with the West Greene Lady Buffaloes basketball team. As always, I'm joined here with Lady Buffs head coach Betsy Shaw. So you've got a pretty important stretch coming up this week. You've got Johnson County, which serves as the second conference game of the week, and then you've got North Greene coming up on Tuesday. Luckily, you've got both of those at home. You went on a little bit of a stretch here where you get to play 3 straight road games. Wasn't originally like that, but the Johnson County game got switched to here at home on the range. So with Johnson County this Friday, of course, serving as a District 1 2A game, talk about how important that game is on Friday night.
I mean, it's super important. It's just, we watched film today, and I think their goal is just to outscore you. It's not to play defense, get a stop, and go score. It's just to try and score.
If I remember, that's how it was last year. Chaotic defense, but want to get to the bucket fast.
And I do realize the goal of any game is to outscore your opponent. I understand that. But, it's shot. When they cross half court, maybe 1 or 2 passes, and they're shooting probably a 3. I mean, it's just – and then the 2 games I watched them play, they press the entire time. So it's just – we've watched it, and hopefully we will be prepared for it. But
hey, how happy are you? You don't have to make that trip now.
I was hoping to, because now we go there on Tuesday.
Yeah. Oh, okay. So you got to go on a Tuesday now. So it seems like every coach is like that, because South Greene's games that were played last night were also moved to South Greene instead of Johnson County. So seems like both teams that I talked to, they got things switched and they wish they'd have got things out of the way. So it seems that way again now that it's got to be on a Tuesday. But luckily you don't have to worry about that until the time comes.
Yeah.
And you've got the game here on Friday night with 2 days to prepare for it also, where you can get a little bit of rest in also. That's very important. You get 2 days between games, actually 3 days between games again when you take on North Greene on Tuesday here at home. Another important game, of course, not a district game, but it is a county game, and it's one of the tougher tests, knowing that North Greene has been to the state tournament now, I think 5 years in a row, and I think 11 times total under Coach Buchanan. He always brings a good team in here, and they're always competitive games. It seems every time you play North Greene on your home floor, it's always a competitive game. Looking for the same on Tuesday night, but what are you going to have to do to carry out a win?
Same thing that we have been trying to do is to do those little things and focus on them. I mean, the goal is to win. You know, any game we play, the goal is to win, but like to focus on all those little things that we've really been working on and harping on. So, and play some defense.
Yeah, defense is more important than offense sometimes.
Play some defense. So
Hey,
I'm
you've been
excited.
playing a lot of defense lately, though. 26 and 17 points, if my quick math is correct. I think it's 21 and a half that you've allowed in the last 2 games. So you carry that into the next 2 games, too. We're going to be sitting down next week, hopefully be talking about an 8-2 record and, more importantly, 2-0 within the conference and sitting up at the top there. But that's all we've got this week. I know you've got practice actually right now, so I'll let you get out there for that. Absolutely. Thank you for sitting down with me, too. And thank you all for watching this week's edition of the Malone's Record Service Betsy Shaw Show, presented by Critters Corner. We look forward to seeing you next time here on Grassroots Media.